The first thing I'm going to do when making my landscape is draw my ground lines. So from this side of my page, all the way to the other side of my page, I would draw my first ground line. And then my second ground line is going to be a little bit above it and behind it. And it might go to the other side of the page from here. So now that I have my two ground lines, I would put away my marker, or in your case, your pencil, and I can start to paint one ground line at a time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my color for the bottom ground line. I think for mine, I'm going to go with this light green. And I'm going to very carefully paint along my ground line. And I'm going to do the outsides of my ground line first. So mine's a little bit watered down. And with yours, since you're using pencil to draw your ground lines, you won't be able to see through it quite like you can with mine. So first I go ahead and create very, very smooth lines by going slowly and holding my paintbrush straight up and down. If you notice, I'm not holding it diagonally like this because I can't make a nice line that way. Then when I get to the edges of my paper, I don't want to get it on the table, so I'm going to lift it up a little bit, or I could pull it to the edge of the table and paint over the edge so that I'm not getting it all over the table. I'm going to do the same thing around the sides here. And I pull the paintbrush towards me so that it's not getting everywhere. But I'm still able to get all the way to the edge that way. And then I'm going to do my last edge over here the exact same way. I'm lifting it up, or again, I could pull it to the edge of the table. Once I have the outline done, then I don't have to worry so much about being perfect. I can put some paint on my brush, and I can just sweep the brush back and forth to cover the inside space. I want to be very careful as I do this not to leave any spots open. I don't want to be able to see any of the gray background as I paint. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and fill in my second ground line and my sky. When I make my second ground line, because I want to paint sort of a fall scene, I'm not going to have a bright green. I might actually mix a little bit of orange, which is going to make my green a little bit more dull. And when I mix two colors, I like to make sure that I always mix towards the middle. I don't spread out the paint, because if I spread out the paint, then I won't be able to use it. It's going to instead cover my whole page here. So I just sort of mix it into the middle of a pile. Once I have the color I want, then I can go ahead and start painting my second ground line. Again, if I want smooth lines, then I'm going to make sure to paint really slowly so that I can make it look very neat. So I'll go ahead and finish that one on my own.